Welcome, good people. Welcome, Moroccan Moors. I'm your man, SRD, and welcome to another episode of Live at 5, presented by Peep Game TV. My man, my main man, 100 grand, Big Moore, still not here. However, I wanted to strive to wait and see if we could get some more people on before I actually begin. And I want to do something a little different today. I want to do a little history session, a little, little information that I found that I would like to share with you guys, if it's all right with you. So just bear with us till we get a little more people on the line, on air. And we're definitely working towards being able to communicate with you guys better, where we could be able to pull you guys up and actually let the audience hear what you have to say, or those of you who are a part of the audience will be able to speak as well and be able to, ask your questions or give your point of views, because this is, after all, this Live at 5 is for all of us. It's not just something that I take time out of my day just to do for me. It's something that I take time out of my day to do for us. For me, one of the most important things for us as so-called Black people, formerly known as Black people, is for us to be independent, for us to be able to maneuver in a manner that is conducive to us, to our well-being. And that can only happen through being independent, totally independent of America and the United States government. If we are unable to do that, or if we continue to allow ourselves to be governed by the United States government and remain Americans, then we're going to pretty much get more of the same of what we've been getting. That's just what it is. There's no if, buts, or maybes. That's what's going to continue to happen. Now, let me read this to you guys. On November 25th, 1491, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand and Bonabdil, Bobadil, the Sultan of Grenada, signed and ratified a treaty that ended the Grenadian War. The war started in 1482 and ended spring of 1491. The treaty brought about a truce resulting in the relinquishing of control by the Moors in January. Peace. How you? In the relinquishing of control by the Moors in January of 1492. Under the agreement, the so-called blacks had several guaranteed rights, such as religious tolerance, fair treatment, resulting in their surrender of Grenada. Now, mind you, once the Moors had surrendered, they began to call the Moors Negroes, black Moors, colored, infidels, and even the slave came up. The European Christians, so-called, ordered the so-called blacks and gave them and ordered them to give up their dress, give up the hats they worn. The European Christians also wanted the Moors to give up their bathing. Basically, the reason I read this to you guys was there was a struggle, a power struggle in the early 1400s. This is more likely where the 400 years of slavery came up. And once the Moors had basically given up the control of Grenada, Europeans took over Grenada and started forcing the Moors, which are our ancestors. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, and the other thing is when when it happened, when the Moors had to relinquish power over to the Europeans began to place orders on the Moors, such as giving up they tell them one thing, with the treaty it said one thing, but once they were able to, you know, appreciate you. Once, and I'm bringing this up because once the Moors were able, once the Europeans were able to get to Moors to start calling themselves other than Moors, they were able to violate the treaty based on saying that the blacks, the infidels, the Negroes, the colored, and the slaves breached the treaty. Now, mind you, what we haven't learned in our history books was in the 1500s, the Moors fought back still. It wasn't it wasn't the way that we've been taught that we were just so docile, our ancestors were so docile that they were just totally conquered without any fight. There were wars that went on. So that lets us know that our people fought for what was right and fought for what they believed in. Now, what would have been done to us is we've been brainwashed to believe that we should accept a lot of things that there's no reason for us to accept. Why? Because we've been taught that our ancestors just gave in, which is an ultimate lie, that our ancestors did not give in. We were conquered based on the numbers. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand married so that they could bring their two powers together so that they could overpower the Moors. That's what happened. Now, speeding up to now, remember, the Moors, which are our ancestors, own the Moroccan Empire, which Spain, Grenada, what else? Haiti, you pretty much name it, it was a part of the Moroccan Empire. Now, the separation began once the colonists started changing our names and so forth and so on. Now, for us to realize that we are now, because of what happened in the past with our ancestors, and at the time, it was the kingdom, it was the empire of Morocco. This is what makes the land that we stand on now the kingdom of Morocco and makes the land Morocco where America is in Morocco. Why did I bring this up and why is it important? Because it's important to know that in order for us to reestablish our control over the land, it's necessary for us to become Moroccan Moors. Now, how do we become Moroccan Moors? It's a process. It's a process. Right now, we are all Moroccan subjects based on our bloodline. We're Moroccan subjects because we're still under the jurisdiction of America. until we, as I said on many occasions, reestablish our government in each of the 50 states. We already have 7, so we need 43 more. So once we reestablish our government, and how we reestablish our government is by putting together a constitution, having our 3 branches of government, having our state seal, which is like a fingerprint, our flag, which is like the body, and the Constitution is like the brain, and the officials is like the lens that moves the body. That's basically what is necessary for us to do. Now, by doing this, how we come back to being Moroccan nationals is the Constitution will recognize us, and would have we would have to go to wherever wherever the office is and get our state ID, recognizing us as Moroccan Moors, not American Moors or Moorish American, Moroccan Moors. This is what the process is of us becoming Moroccan nationals. So the first thing that has to be done is we have to reestablish those states in the other 43 states so that we can come back to our proper state of political standing and our legal identity. It's not where you've heard people run up and say, "Oh, I'm a Moroccan Moor." Yeah, by birthright you are. However, it is a process to be legally done. We Once we do that, once the Constitution is completed, then it goes to the United Nations. The Secretary General of the United Nations get a written copy. The governor of that state get a written copy. Now, in order to do it, it's something called uti possidetis juris. It means the legal way to reclaim your land in a peaceful way according to international law. So that means each place we won't be able to create uh, different different zones. The latitude and longitude of whatever state you're in, that would be the state that you reclaim. Say you're in Pennsylvania, that's will be your state. If you're in North Carolina, that you'll find the latitude and longitude of North Carolina, South Carolina, Jersey, New York. Each state, this is how it has. This is the process of doing it. The process, as I said, it takes time. You'll need at least a good, I would say, a good 15 people. We could start getting it done in each of the 43 states that are not done. And we have help because we have the Wazir Regional Council to reach out to start putting our states together. Why is this important? Because at the end of the day, once we put our states together and we start to unite our states, now we become the dominant jurisdiction. Now we become the jurisdiction that is over America. That's the reason why America doesn't want this to happen. And that's the reason we never really learned about it in school, because why would America want to relinquish its power to people they call the so-called slaves, the so-called blacks, where they've been playing us out against white and black to try to make us think that it was something other. It was about race, but it's really about seniority. It's really about identity and what you get with your proper identity. That's the reason it's totally necessary that we begin to look at ourselves as, until we get our the other 43 states completed, start to look at ourselves as Moroccan subjects until we're able to become Moroccan nationals by being recognized by a state. It the main ingredient is put your state, your flag, your state seal, and get your state ID from your state. Your state recognizes you as a Moroccan Moor. Not me, not you, not anybody else. The state recognizes you. So when you're driving around or whatever, you have your state ID to say, I'm no longer American. And that means that's a process as well, because now documentation has to be sent. It's going to be sent to America as John D becomes John Bay, John Day, and they know the difference of the two. So it's about relinquishing the control of America and the United States government over us and regaining our proper control over ourselves. Because many times as Black people, we talk about unifying. However, it's pretty much impossible to unify the way we need to unify under the United States government. They're just not going to allow it. Many of us have seen that. And those of you who haven't, stick around long enough, you will see it. The goal is to get those other 43 states together and then become the United States of Morocco, which is when we begin to have the power to start challenging the laws that we don't like and rewriting our laws that fits us, that are comfortable for us, that America has to abide to. This is what happens when we start to do that, because now our laws become the laws of the land rather than American United States laws. We already know that the laws that we've been accustomed to wasn't for our benefit, it was for the benefit of America. Now, what is the benefit for us? The benefit for us is we also will be able to start taxing America. This, however, this stuff is later on. The most important part is to get those 43 states to become 50 states and start coming back to our true identity. And to the point where we get to a point where people get away from using Black, which is holding us back, because it comes with a mindset, it comes with stipulations that are out of our control. As much as we want to control it, it's out of our control. Why? Because it puts us in the jurisdiction of America and the United States government, which is the dominant power over so-called Black people. However, Moroccan Moors gets to be the dominant power over so-called America and its United States government. Now it's gonna take some swift pens and a lot of studying and work on our part and a change in our mindset, because some of our mindsets is, I hate to say it, Europeanized. A lot of our mindsets. Why? And it's not totally our fault, because what were we taught? We were taught more about Europeans than we were about ourselves. So of course, our mind's going to be more Europeanized. So that's okay. Now that we have the opportunity to reestablish and start to learn our what our ancestors, so that now that we can reestablish traditions and culture, you know, and heritage, the way that all of that was taken away, we can start to reestablish that. We can start to see ourselves differently, and we will start to see ourselves differently, and we will be able to unite. This is one of the things we've talked about as a people for so long, us being able to unite as one. And we have it. We have a vehicle now that will help us to unite as one, because what can be more united when we all have the same state? We all are part of a Moroccan state. We all are Moroccans, Moroccan Moors. We no longer have to go by any other thing other than Moroccan Moors, and we get to work together to make sure our states are taken care of the way that we see that they need to be taken care of, because we are writing the laws, and we are not going to someone else asking them to write laws that will benefit us. This is one of the reasons why we've suffered for so long, because we've been asking those who had pushed our government to the side to take their government and make their government work for us. And it's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. And they really, to be honest, they have no reason to do it. When we are wise enough, capable enough, competent enough people to reestablish our own government, to fill the empty seats of our government, where we no longer have to be worrying about being the minority, because we are the majority of our own government. We are the majority of our own state, because we become the state that we've been looking for. And not only just a state, having your own state definitely will change the state of our minds, because now we are looking at ourselves from a whole different vantage point, because now we're no longer the subservient citizen. We are the Moroccan national that has the power to overlap the United States government. This is why this is so important, because the Constitution is the beginning. That's the powerful part that has to be done first. Must be done first. We must put together a Constitution. We must have our flag, and we must have our state seal before we can get our state ID and be recognized as Moroccan Moors. America doesn't do that for us. The United States government doesn't do that for us. We do that for ourselves. Now we become self sufficient and independent based on what we need to do for ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean that we shut out America and we don't deal with America at all, because there are we are cohabitating in the same land. We just get the opportunity to deal with America from a basis of being the superior people. And when I say person or people, let's say the state. We become the superior state. Let's look at how contracts work. Contracts, there's two parties. Then there's who is the superior, who is the inferior. What is the terms and what is the conditions? And then how are those terms and conditions are going to be enforced? Let's use something simple so that you all can kind of understand what I'm saying. Okay, when you go to get a car, you go get a car, That's a contract. When you put together the contract, that's between you and the dealer. That's the contract. Right now, from the beginning, the dealer is the superior person on the contract. All right. You are the inferior person on the contract. That means the deal is you got to pay X amount of money for X amount of years. That's the terms in the conditions. You got to pay $250 for 60 months. Those are the terms of the conditions. Okay, you following me? You didn't establish who were the two parties of the contract, you and the car dealer. And we've already established who was the superior one and who was the inferior one, which is the car dealer is the superior one and you are the inferior one. Now, the terms and conditions is that you pay that certain amount of money for the certain amount of years. Now, how is it enforced? If you don't pay that certain amount of money for those years, then they can come and repossess the car. Okay. So it's as simple as that. And that's what we work with all around. Anytime you go to a job, there's a contract. Everything is based on contracts. And for the longest, we have had a contract with America and the United States government, which made us inferior to the United States government in America. Now, by us reclaiming our true identity, our God given birthright of being Moroccan Moors, we get the chance to be the superior party in the contract between us and America. And when I say we, I mean our states. We as individuals can't be running around, oh, America, I'm a Moor, you supposed to, no, our state take care of that. We still remain humble. It's just if something happens, now we can turn to our state officials and let them fight our battles for us. So it's totally necessary for us to elect the proper individuals that's going to represent our states. It's totally essential for us to to elect the proper individuals. No longer is it necessary for us as Moroccan Moors to be concerned about Americans' elections. We need to be concerned about elections in Morocco and reestablishing our states. That's our concern. That's what we as a people. And I say that to say don't be so, because there's plenty of us who have brilliant minds and are part of America's government. And at the end of the day, they're still limited of what kind of laws they can push, what kind of laws they can do for us. I mean, at the end of the day, even when we had Barack Obama, he was still limited, having the top position. He was still limited of what he was able to do for us as a people. Now, he did what he was able to do under those circumstances. Now, imagine Barack Obama being a part of the Moroccan Empire with that state of mind that he has and the understanding of government that he has. These are the people that we want to elect for our state officials so that we can be able to be finally in the position that our ancestors, many of them in the 60s, 50s, and 40s, died and hoped and prayed. And some of the ones who are still here who went through the Jim Crow era and things of that nature still wasn't able to see the type of change that they want. But with that being said, we've ran out of time again, good people. Until next time, show love the way you want to receive love. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and it's been a pleasure to have you guys here. And I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. Peace. I love you just as much as I love myself.